I automatically thought of what's going on. The album came out in 1971. Vietnam War was still going on. So the black soldiers, they were hearing that album where they were in boot camp in the United States, or when they were sent halfway around the world to the American War. When you
Yes.
go to Vietnam and you say the Vietnam War, you were politely reminded, we did not call it that. I'm speaking as the Vietnamese people. They
Yeah.
say it is the American War.
Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America. Today's episode takes us behind the scenes of director Spike Lee's new adventure drama, Da 5 Bloods. The film follows 4 African-American veterans who battle the forces of both man and nature when they return to Vietnam, seeking the remains of their fallen squad leader and the gold fortune he helped them hide. In addition to Da 5 Bloods, Mr. Lee's directorial credits include the feature films She's Gotta Have It, Do the Right Thing, Malcolm X, and Chirac. He was nominated for the DGA's Feature Film Award for his 2018 feature Black Klansman, and was awarded with the DGA Honors in 2002. Mr. Lee spoke with director Kevin Willmott about filming Da 5 Bloods in front of a virtual audience. Listen on for their spoiler-filled conversation.
Hey. Welcome, everybody. This is our conversation tonight with the one and only, the director of Da 5 Bloods, the man himself, Mr. Spike Lee. How you doing, Spike?
Good. And look, please tell the people you were the co-writer.
Yes.
Let them know.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I'm Kevin Willmott, the moderator tonight and the co-writer with my guys, Danny Bilson, Paul DeMaio. We're all
the late Paul DeMaio.
Late Paul DeMaio. Wish I could have met that brother. We're all writers on the film with Spike.
And let's give love to Lloyd Levin right away, who blessed us with the opportunity to do this.
Yes, indeed. Thanks so much, Lloyd. Appreciate you, brother. The great Lloyd Levin, fabulous producer. How you doing tonight, Spike?
Well, I'm feeling better, but it looked like we were on the brink the other day, January 6th. But I like to let's point this out for the get-go, my brother. Let people know that we also co-wrote Black Klansman. And we had Agent Orange, shout out to Busta Rhymes, my Brooklyn brother, who came up with that term. We had Agent Orange in Black Klansman, and we had Agent Orange in Da 5 Bloods.
Yes, indeed.
So, and for Black Klansman, where we ended with Charlottesville, and he said there's good people on both sides, and in Da 5 Bloods, we had the whole thing, blacks for Trump. But also had the character, Paul, played by the great Delroy Lindo, who's finally getting recognition after all these years putting in much work, wearing that MAGA hat throughout the
and he didn't really want to do it right off the bat, did he?
Nah. He had some hesitation, but he came around, talked to his beautiful wife, and when you got your queen with you, sometimes we don't listen. but being in 26 years married to my beautiful queen Tanya, when the queen speaks, you gotta listen. You
better show up and listen. Yes, indeed.
You might not be liking what they're saying, and you can co-sign that, my brother.
Yes, indeed.
You gotta listen.
You gotta listen. Yes.
And Delroy came around. An interesting thing about Da 5 Bloods, a lot of people missed that hat that's introduced in the film by Delroy's character Paul is worn by many people throughout the whole film.
Yes.
People missed that.
Yes.
They missed it.
Yeah, we kind of use it almost like a horror motif, where it's kind of passed around the whole film, man.
What that is? That's that screenwriting and scientific mathematics. That's what we do, baby. That's what we do.
What we do. That's what we do.
Iraq, Black Klansman, and now the Five Bloods. That's 3, my brother. Thank you.
Oh, hey, man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you,
park, man. Knocked it way out the park.
Thank you.
You know, while we're talking about this,
another thing, though.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of films I've done, Bamboozled, 20th Hour, Summer Sam, you know, they didn't really hit when they came out, but were discovered later. I think the same thing's going to happen to Chirac.
You know, I think that's right, man. I think that's right. In fact, a woman from Oxford.
Even in Chicago. Even in Chicago.
That's right. You know, while we're talking about these things, you know, I was going to ask you, you know, that thing you mentioned about Black Klansmen and the Five Bloods, it's the fact that we're in this kind of historic moment right now. And
herstory, both of them.
Yeah. And, you know, how do you feel about the fact that, you know, because a lot of directors, you know, they're not willing to kind of take a chance like that to kind of stake their claim and make a comment, you know, state an opinion like that? What do you think?
I got the answer. My brother, my close friends call me Negro Damas. Do you like, yo, Spike, you be predicting this before it happens.
Negro Damas. Negro Damas. Yes,
Negro
indeed.
Damas. Look at that. Let me tell you. Look at Ray Raheem. Look at Errol Garner. Look at George Floyd.
Right.
I wrote Do the Right Thing 1988. Came out this summer 89.
Simple as that.
Negro Damas.
Negro Damas. You got that globe, man. You got the globe in the back room, man.
They be like, my friend, look, I know I'm making a joke of, I ain't lying. Be like, Spike, yo, you be predicting it before shit happens.
Don't you think a lot of it comes from the fact that you're just willing to go there, though? You know?
Well, I think that's true, but I think that you gotta know, you gotta read books and understand history.
Yeah.
Because it be repeating itself.
Nonstop, right?
Nonstop. And
Nonstop.
It's like here's the thing, though. I was not, again, everything I say tonight, my audience, and also thank you for tuning in. Everything I say is Spike Lee talking. Myself, I'm not the spokesperson. Never try to put myself as a spokesperson for anybody but myself. But if you look at the history of the United States of America, I was not aghast or surprised by what happened on January 6th.
Yeah.
What we saw is what we've seen in the history of the United States. It was just another name for it. Lynch mob.
Yes, indeed.
Lynch mob. Lynch mob. Is our beautiful sister, Billie Holiday, sang, strange fruit. This thing they knew.
Yeah, they wanted to get old Pence, didn't they? They wanted to hang on Mike.
They were there to kill people.
They were there to kill people. That's right. They were there.
And here's the thing, though, which is also said universally, like, I'm just paraphrasing, but black and brown folks around the world, not in the United States, are saying, like, yeah, if that had been some black and brown people trying to do that, it would have been, bodies would have been stacked.
Yes, indeed.
Stacked.
Yep.
So anybody want to compare what happened January 6th to the uprisings that took the summer behind the murder of George Floyd, there's no comparison, in my opinion.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. You know, while you got the beautiful Marvin on your sweaters, on your sweatshirt tonight.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about, why you chose the album and how you made it so prominent in the film.
Well, after I don't know if you notice, in 2003, Rolling Stone had a poll of the greatest 500 albums ever, and What's Going On was number 6. And recently they had a new poll, and Marv is now number 1.
Right on.
1971, I was in high school. John Dewey High School in Coney Island, Brooklyn. And in the library, they had turntables and headphones. So when I should have been in class, I was in the library listening to What's Going On again and again. We're talking about vinyl, so you had to flip it over.
You had to flip that bad boy.
You had to flip that bad boy over.
Side B.
And so when Lloyd blessed us by sending us the script, I automatically thought of What's Going On. The album came out in 1971. Vietnam War was still going on. So the Bloods, the black soldiers, they were hearing that album where they were in boot camp in the United States, or when they were sent halfway around the world to the American War. When you go to Vietnam and you say the Vietnam War, you were politely reminded, we did not call it that. I'm speaking as the Vietnamese people. They say it is the American War.
Wow.
So if you were a black soldier of blood, you were listening to Hanoi Hannah. That is a true historical figure. Just like in World War II, you had Axis Sally, who was American on the radio for Nazi Germany. And in Japan, you had Tokyo Rose. So the thing is that to get the American soldiers to listen to propaganda, they will play Tokyo Rose in Japan, World War II, Axis Sally, Nazi Germany, World War II, and Hannah Hanoi in Vietnam War to get propaganda, and they will play popular music, American music. And in between the songs, that's they would talk. So I really want to include that.
Yeah.
And when you listen, you go on YouTube and you can hear Hannah Hanoi's recordings. And the stuff she's saying, I don't think it was propaganda. She was speaking the truth.
Yeah.
And if the black soldiers found out about the assassination of Dr. King 3 days later through her. She was the one on the radio. That's how black soldiers found out Dr. King had been assassinated. That's how black soldiers found out that their brothers and sisters back in America in over 100 cities were burning shit down. And with the scene we wrote, my brother, that's one of my favorite scenes in the film, where we show the division, where they were the brothers that want to start, they want to set it off. And I'm not talking about Arcus were Vietnamese.
No.
It was the Vietnamese.
No, exactly.
And then you had to the character of our beloved, the late great Chadwick, who was saying, you can't misplace your anger. That's one of my favorite scenes. In the film, but spurred on by hearing through the radio through Hanoi Hannah that Dr. King had been assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee, and telling the black soldiers that their brothers and sisters back in America are burning it down. In over 100 cities.
Yeah, and all that was very true. We did the research on that, in terms of, there were guys that wanted to attack, their fellow soldiers. And there was a lot of, racial friction going on in the Vietnam War.
And it's a miracle. The friction was there.
Yeah.
But it is a miracle that a civil war did not jump off.
Yeah.
Black soldiers against white soldiers in Vietnam. Post the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And one thing that we really want the audience to understand is that during the height of the Vietnam War, African American soldiers were 30% of the fighting forces in Vietnam. Yet, African Americans were only 10% of the population of the United States and America.
Yeah. I mean, that's and I think people have kind of gotten that fact and that figure from the film. I mean, that seems to be something that people really pick up from the movie. While we're talking about Chadwick there, would you want to talk about him in the film a little bit?
Well, number one, as soon as I found out, I called Ryan Coogler, who directed him in Black Panther. I called him George C. Wolfe, who directed him in his last film, Ma Rainey. And I asked both of my brothers, did they know?
Right.
And they said they did not know, and I did not know either. Chadwick made the decision that he did not want to be treated differently. He did not want us as directors to not do as much. He did not want to be treated differently. In the first battle sequence, if people seen the film, Chadwick had to do a lot of running from position to position. And I remember telling him, yo, my brother, you got to run faster. You got to run like Usain Bolt. Now, Chadwick understood that if he had told me what the deal was, I would not asked him to run faster. He did not want to be treated any differently. So I did not know, along with my other brothers, again, who worked with him recently, Ryan Coogler and George C. Wolfe. But I think that, again, this is just my thinking. I think that Chadwick told God, just give me one more film. Give me one more film and let that be The Five Bloods. And God said, I got you. I'm going to give you one more. And that was Ma Rainey. That's what I think.
Yeah. That beautiful scene where him and Paul...
at the end, right?
Yeah, at the end.
When Stormy Norman comes back as a ghost to forgive
Yes.
Paul's character for killing him in a friendly fire. That's a very emotional scene. And it was emotional. Electricity was not going through for me, but everybody that was witnessing that scene. And I know people might think I'm crazy, but if you remember the scene, it starts with Paul's character looking into the camera, speaking to the audience about the conversation he had with God. He said, God woke his black up. So Delroy's character, Paul, is talking in the camera, and then once he finishes, his eyes move, which is a cue for the camera to leave Paul and tilt up amongst the trees where you see a heavenly light coming down. And once we get to the top of that shot. The camera descends very slowly, and in a very poetic, statuesque pose is Stormin' Norman. And on my mother's grave, that light was not lit. That light was God's heavenly light.
Wow.
Now, people, you might think that that's some, BS, but as I said before, I'm going to say for the last time on this thing, but on my mother's grave, that was God's light.
That's amazing, man, because that was such a beautiful shot, man.
Yeah.
It's
and the great Tom Sieg will tell you, we had a fill light, coming from the side, but that light that's coming down and showering, blessing Chadwick, that is not no light we did. that was God's light.
Wow. You were out in the jungle, long time. Those kind of shoots are always hard. What was probably the hardest thing about the shoot, and what do you think was what's probably your most excited? I mean, what's the most exciting scene for you in the film, you think?
Well, one way that I want to start answering your question, sir. I'm as you are a tenure professor, University of Kansas, Jayhawks, and I'm a tenure professor in one university. The Fighting Violence. Hey, I didn't name it. I mean, violence.
That's right. I'm a fighting violence.
Ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's right.
But as a tenure professor and artistic director at graduate film school, on the first day of the semester, I try to convey to my students that nothing's easy, and this industry is hard as a motherfucker. Hard AF. And you understand what AF means, as fuck.
Yes,
not AS, AZ. Let's not get it twisted. Not AZ.
Yes, indeed.
So it was a hard shoot. This is not on the back lot. We're in the jungles of Thailand, the jungles in Vietnam. But the camera doesn't lie. The camera reveals. You could try to be slick and fake the funk. Half step.
Yeah.
But the camera don't go for that. The camera is about truth and honesty. The camera reveals that. I tell my students, I've seen several films where a couple in this film, they're supposed to be married 20 years, and you could tell the scene I'm watching is the first day they ever met. And as you know,
yep,
the camera reveals all. Now, of course, people say, what about Stanley Kubrick shooting Full Metal Jacket in London? Well, I said, look, it was a great film, but it was kind of gloomy.
It wasn't real bright, was it?
And I love my brother. Bronx Science High School. And once Stanley Kubrick got to London, he was not getting on a plane. Every film was shot there in the UK. But you could make exceptions for masters of the cinema.
Yes.
But everybody ain't a master though. Everybody ain't Kubrick. So you can't do what he did.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So, we talked a little bit about the mob the lynch mob storming the Capitol. I want to connect that with one of the things that the Five Bloods talk a lot about, and that's kind of, and I think this was important to you with the film, that the promise of America, how Black soldiers have always served, and even when, they didn't have rights of their own, the promise, they fought believing in America, believing that, talk a little bit about that and how you wove that into the film.
Well, thank you for that very deep question. Kevin, my brother, our ancestors were stolen from Mother Africa. The first ship arrived in Jamestown, 1619. The United States of America was built upon the stealing and genocide of the native people, coupled with slavery. That is the foundation. That is the legacy of the United States of America. I hate the term founding fathers. Even hearing people I respect use that term, and they're anti-Trump. But we have to be honest. The founding fathers owned slaves. George Washington owned slaves. You can make a good case that Thomas Jefferson was a pedophile. This is our history. This is our herstory. I say both now.
Very cool.
And it should be taught.
Yeah.
It should be part of the curriculum. What I just said is a fact. And we did this in this film, my brother, together. We made a fact that we're going to bring out and talk about Crispus Attucks. The first person to die for this country was a Black man. Boston Massacre. Killed by the British. We talked about our young brother Milton Olive, 8 years old, Vietnam War, threw his body on a grenade to save his fellow soldiers, sacrificed his life. In fact, I never heard of him till we started doing research. I think you were the one that hit me to Ali said, Spike, you heard about Milton? I said, no. So you should love you, brother. Get credit for that. Tap yourself on the back. I never heard of Milton Olive.
Yeah.
And I never heard of him. If I ain't heard of him, a whole lot of other motherfuckers ain't heard of him either.
That's right.
And we put that in the film. We talk about it, where Clark's character talks about him, and then we cut to a picture.
Yeah.
18 years old.
18.
In his military, a baby.
Baby.
We, descendants of Africa, have been fighting for this country from day one with the promise that we love the red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue would love us back. And we're still shot down, Black and brown people. Shot down left and right, like it's all right. And the police who do this very rarely, is justice, done. And it culminated this summer. And I like to say this. My heart was so full when I saw images of white people, not just Americans, but white people, a young generation of white people, my young white sisters and brothers all over the world who were marching, chanting Black Lives Matter, who were kneeling, marching, raising their fist, all over the world. That image, which you really call a 8-minute and 43-second snuff film of our brother in Indianapolis, that hit people's chord. And if you just want to break it down to the United States, we haven't seen something like that since the Vietnam War.
Right.
You know, where young black, brown, and white people, especially on college campuses, came together and said, "This immoral war has to stop."
Yeah.
And that's a large part of this film.
Yeah. You know, you made a really interesting choice, and you made it early on, from the very beginning, really, to not use the younger actors or do
or cast younger actors.
Yeah, cast younger actors, or do the CG effects to make them younger. Talk about that choice a little bit, would you?
Well, it was not a very hard choice, Kevin. As you know, we were shopping this project once Lloyd, asked us to come aboard, and we wrote our script. We shopped this around Hollywood, and we were given flat no's or given okays, but with budgets that weren't serious. So I knew that going in, that whatever the number we can get, that's got to be the number. And this is where I have to give out a shout out to Ted Serranos, Scott Stupper, excuse my language. Excuse me for mispronouncing your name, Scott. It's been honest, doing this press all day. And Tendo. And when Netflix came to us and said, Spike, we want to do this film, but this is a number, I was not going to fight. I was just happy that we were going to get the film made. And also, I've seen several films in the past where, in a situation like this, younger actors were cast for the older actors, and I mean, I didn't know who was who.
Yeah.
In other situations where they say the character's name 10 times, so the only to know who's playing who.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. Also, as far as CG goes, I had a very hard number for Netflix, and to do the CG would have exceeded the budget. And here's the key thing, my brother. I believe in the intelligence of the audience. I knew that there would be a slight moment where they'll be jarred,
mm-hmm.
but they will quickly get in the flow and understand that the actors, all about memory.
Right.
And they're going back to Vietnam. They were babies when they were in Vietnam. So they're going back to Vietnam as old, grown-ass men. But they're going back looking at themselves when they were babies.
Yeah.
So I was confident that the audience would understand that. And they did.
It was really pretty amazing, man, because I've never heard one person ever say, they didn't get that or they didn't understand it. Or, I mean, and that was I know that was a kind of a big choice when you made it.
Gotta roll the dice, baby.
Yeah. That's right, man.
Yeah, you're praying, but I don't want, Mama, first you're saying, Mama needs a new pair of shoes. And then secondly, you're saying, come on, I don't want snake eyes. And then you go to my brother, Marlon Brando, from Guys and Dolls, my very first, very famous scene, Luck Me a Lady Tonight.
Luck Me a Lady Tonight.
And you blow, Luck Me a Lady Tonight. I don't know, I'm not singing, but and then you blow the dice. Ha! That's what we, Kevin, that's what we do, baby. Is that what we do? Is
That's
that what we do?
That's what we do. That's what we do. You know, a lot of people, I think, were kind of blown away at the end with the Black Lives Matter choice as well. And
what are you talking about?
Yeah, well, you know, with that, you know, the gold is, you know,
oh yeah.
Black Lives Matter, and talk about that. Talk about, you know, because people thought that maybe you added that at the end or something that you.
No, look. Here's the thing. My production company, way back when I was a student in Morehouse, is called 40 Acres and a Mule. That's reparations. So it was right there in front of us, my brother Kevin, with the script. And I don't know if you ever noticed, I don't ever know if you ever had known this. The Treasure of Sierra Madre is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
Directed by the great John Huston. Who directed his father.
Yeah. Which is really crazy.
Then one of my favorite actors is Humphrey Bogart.
Yes, indeed.
So that element was written into the script that we were sent. So it wasn't easy to add 2 + 2.
Yeah.
To make that gold be our reparations, which was brought into the picture, was told by their commander, their mythic commander, Stormy Norman. And another thing people slept on, Kevin, a lot of people slept on the fact that the name of the Five Bloods were the names of the original Temptations. The Temptation. Very few people caught that.
That's right. But Otis actually called you, didn't he?
Called me. He got in touch with me. Otis, the only living member of the Temptations. And we had a very nice talk. And he really just thanked me from the bottom of his heart. And he was speaking, this is just saying for him.
Right.
He was calling me, speaking on behalf of his brothers.
Yeah.
Who no longer here.
Yeah.
So he was thanking me on behalf of his brothers and himself who no longer here in their physical sense.
Yeah.
But are here in in the spiritual sense.
And you know,
he called me out the blue. Somehow he found my phone number. And I was not mad. You know, the Otis and the Temptations wasn't speaking.
Yes, that's big stuff, man.
I was like, it was you know what? It was a blessing. Yeah. And Kevin, I don't want to speak for you, but there were so many blessings.
Oh, no doubt
that came. Let me use a different word. There was abundance.
Yes.
An abundance.
Yes.
Of blessings we got in this film, The Five Bloods. In abundance.
You know, you talked about how, you know, some of the difficulties in getting the movie made, and I think Black veterans, I know they've kind of reached out to you and thanked you for this.
So we had before the film was released, we had 5 screenings for Black and brown veterans for the Vietnam War. It was very emotional because I didn't, in my research, whatever war it is, people don't want to talk about it. You know, they see things that they don't want to share. And so, Kevin, we had 5 screenings, 4 or 5, before the film was released, because I wanted these elderly black men and brown men, because we have Puerto Ricans, New Yorkers that were there too, Bawiquas, and they were babies, 16, 17, 8 years old, when they went halfway around the world to fight in a immoral war. And it was very emotional for them. And there were several of our heroes, our American patriots, who they in the middle, in the film, they had to get up and leave, and for a minute, and just get themselves together in the lobby. But they came back, and in the battle sequences, I made it a point, because I said, Spike, sit in the last row, so I can see what their actions are.
Mm-hmm.
When the battle sequence started, they started ducking.
Wow.
Kicking the chairs. They were ducking. No bull. And when the lights came up, there was a long, long silence. They started to applaud. And I went to the front of the screen and thanked them. I thanked them for coming. I thanked them for being heroes. And let's be honest, black, white, or brown, when you came back to Vietnam, you were getting no love.
No love.
You called baby killers.
That's right.
So I thanked them, and the line was formed. I moved from in front of the screen. I went to the door so I could get a big hug from each one of them. And those were some of the greatest hugs I ever received in my life. Many of these brothers had tears in their eyes. And knowing these guys, they're like, "Yo, Spike, what's up, baby?" Especially the guys from Brooklyn. "Yo, Spike, man, why you made it wait so long? We've been waiting on you." And you deal with Miracle St. Anna. We said, "Oh, yeah, it's going to be soon. Why you make us wait so long?" There's a gap. Miracle St. Anna, Black Soldiers, World War II. The Buffalo Soldiers.
Buffalo Soldiers.
So after that film, they thought like the next one's going to be Vietnam.
Gotta be, right?
They're like, "Yo, Spike, what's up with that? You made us wait."
Well, I tell you, Spike, last one here. Anything you want to say about the film before we call it good for tonight?
Well, I want to thank everyone for taking your time out on this MLK National Holiday Weekend. My Morehouse brother, Martin Luther King. When Martin Luther King graduated from Morehouse as a 19-year-old, a senior, my father was a freshman. Martin Luther King III, his son, and I were classmates in Morehouse, class of 79, along with Jay Johnson, the former,
Homeland Security.
Yeah, we were all in the same class. Jay, Marty, and myself. We lived. I want first, and another thing. Even before that, I should have got my order in straight. I want everybody to be safe. This Rona, as they say in the hood, that Rona is not a hoax. It's not a joke. And we're going to be at a number of 400,000 Americans and large dead families who might never recover from that loss. The hundreds of thousands of Americans who should not be dead. And those lives that were lost were on the bloody hands of Agent Orange. He didn't give excuse people, forgive my profanity right here, but he didn't give Our president of the United States did not give a. It was the flu. We're gonna have it done right away.
Hoax.
It was a hoax, and many people are dead now who believe that because they don't wear a mask. So the times we live in are going to go down in infamy. Not just American history, but world history. And Agent Orange. I just want to tell some people who might be familiar with the term. I don't call this guy by his name. I call him Agent Orange, which the great Busta Rhymes came up with that nickname, Agent Orange. For the fact it looks Agent Orange. It looks orange, and the fact that we know what Agent Orange did, the devastation Agent Orange did during the Vietnam War. I mean, the intent was to kill the Viet Cong and wipe out all the greenery, but sadly, American soldiers died from breathing Agent Orange. And, I just think that we got to tell the truth. This country's done some stuff, and we're not going to get to where we need to be if we be honest and just acknowledge the history of this country. Then we move forward. I think, that's my opinion. I'm not speaking for nobody but Shelton Jackson, Spike Lee.
Thank you, Spike. We appreciate it, brother.
And I want to thank you for our friendship.
Oh man, thank you, brother.
For our love that flows between us, our families, for our love of being professors and teaching young filmmakers what they tell them, what they might not want to hear.
Yeah.
What they need to hear.
Amen.
And both of us could easily not teach,
right.
But we love to teach. And we are blessed where we could teach and still make our films.
Amen, brother.
And as you know, I'm going to say, this one to speak for you, if I may. And I say this many times in my public speakings. Parents kill more dreams than anybody. I'm going to repeat that.
Yeah. Wow.
Parents kill more dreams than anybody. And so we were blessed, Kevin.
Yes, we were.
Parents who did not tell us that we couldn't do at an early age whatever we wanted to do, but also we had to work hard.
That's right.
My mother told me at a very early age, and I didn't even understand it, that whatever, and I didn't even know I'm 8, 9 years old. I don't know what the I want to do. I'm a kid. My mother told me, my late mother, played by Alfie Woodard in my film, in the film Crooklyn. She told me at a very young age, Spike, you got to be 10 times better than your white classmates. And I understand it. And I'll say, Mommy, that doesn't sound unfair. My mother could curse. My mother would say, fuck fair. I understand it.
Yeah.
She would tell me at every honest that that just being as good ain't gonna get it because it's not set up for us to win. Yeah. I know your parent. You heard that too, right?
Oh, everything.
Am I making it up, Kevin?
No,
tell the audience. Tell the audience.
That's the speech, brother. That's the speech, man. And they didn't stand in our way, and they encouraged us and said, "Let us do our thing, man." And let us do our thing.
You got to work though, right? Come on.
They said you got to work hard, and they could only help us so much. You had to go out there and find a way to get it done.
Make a way.
Got to make a way.
Make a way.
Yeah, man, and that's what we tell these young people, that you got to make a way. You got to find a way.
Make a way.
I ain't take no for an answer. You got to keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Spike. Good seeing you, brother, man.
It's good to see you. And I know we're in the COVID, but we gotta keep up a little bit more, all right?
Yeah, for sure, Cat. For sure, man.
Phone, Zoom. Hey, Zoom is killing me.
I know, man. I know. Cat's our age. We only want to do the Zoom so much.
Woo! So I'm gonna end it like this. Zoom is hard AF. All right, love you, man.
All right, love you too, Cat. Be safe.
And thank you, everyone. Be safe. Please be safe.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, The Director's Cut is available wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay tuned in the coming weeks as we bring you discussions of films from Regina King, Viggo Mortensen, and Aaron Sorkin. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow film buffs find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.